Hey everybody, it's Sean and Julie from Chicory's Travels.
This week we want to talk to you guys about our first boondocking or dry camping experience and our lessons learned. And not that we're never going to do it again, because it wasn't great, but it wasn't quite that bad. So we're going to talk about the reasons why it wasn't great and what we can do to make it more enjoyable next time.
So first of all, we'll explain why we were doing it. We were in Wellington, Texas, filming our part in the RV Nomads movie, and all of the cast was there with the exception of just a couple of people who couldn't make it, and we were all parked at the fairgrounds, which there was only a few hookups, and
we didn't get them.
So we were just out in the field with everybody else, and it was hot. But
it was real hot, like over 100 degrees some days.
That's why we were boondocking and not hooked up.
So next we'll talk about the equipment that we have on our RV. Like we said, we've never boondocked before, so we don't have solar panels. We have 2 lead acid batteries.
Yes. With
some kind of inverter. You want to tell them about that?
Yeah, so the only sort of setup we have in our RV, of course, we have the generator, the onboard generator, which is a gas hog, and it uses a ton of gas. So we ended up having to go to the gas station every day.
Although, even though it is a gas hog, it's still, at least we had a generator. I mean, I will say that. We wouldn't have stayed. Oh, hey, Kenny and Sabrina, yeah. Eduardo. Hello, everyone. So anyhow, yeah, so at least we had a generator, because I wouldn't have probably stayed more than a day if we hadn't have.
And then we have our 2 12-volt lead acid batteries and an inverter, a 1,000-watt inverter just to power our fridge. But you learn very quickly that the lead acid batteries are not ideal for boondocking, because you can only get, this is all stuff I knew, not anything I knew before we went, but the lead acid batteries, you can only get down to about 50%. And so then they're not usable anymore and you have to recharge them. So with our refrigerator, that only lasts about 5 or 6 hours, and then we have to change them out. So we're definitely looking to upgrade to some lithium batteries, which you can take down to 0 and are a lot more efficient.
And also we could maybe get a better inverter.
Yeah. A bigger inverter to power a few more things.
Yeah, Sean has sleep apnea, so he needs a CPAP, and that's a problem if you don't have power at night.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was one of the toughest things, was just not having the right setup to be able to stay long-term somewhere without hookups.
And air conditioning. Yeah, because air conditioning takes a lot of power. And like I said, it was really hot. It was like over 100 degrees some days. So air conditioning is definitely. So another lesson learned not only about that is not only getting better batteries, but maybe just trying boondocking in some places where it's not so hot.
Yeah. But like I said, we were just down there for this movie, and it was over 100 degrees some days. And I didn't feel like bad, because everybody was pretty much in the same boat. And even the people who had really good setups were struggling in the heat. And there was actually a lithium battery guy down there, and we got to talk to him, and yeah, you can take those batteries down to 0 pretty much, and they'll come right back. And so switching our 12-volt lead acids for the 2 12-volt lithium-ion batteries would pretty much almost triple our ability for power while we're out there with no hookups.
Hey, I see someone else joined us, Touring Taste Buds. I believe I've been watching their Airstream renovation. So it's awesome to see some of you guys on here with us. We really appreciate it. We're talking about our first boondocking experience that didn't go so great because it was in northern Texas just last 3 weeks. It was over 100 degrees some days, and it was super hot. But the second challenge after power was water. So we have, do you remember how big our freshwater tank is?
60 gallons, I think.
Yeah, so we have a 60-gallon freshwater tank, and actually they did have a pretty good setup. There was a guy who set up, like, he made, his name is John Najedlo, and he's with it's called Geo Astro RV, and they're really awesome. You guys should check them out. And they go around, they have this big solar trailer, and they do stargazing, and they do it like national parks and high schools and stuff. It's really cool, and they live full time in an RV. But he had set up like a water tank system, and we actually were in a position where it was close enough that we could actually run a water hose to the RV to fill it up. But we didn't want to stay hooked up the whole time because we didn't want to hog up that water hose. But the second thing is, when you use a lot of water, you also have a lot of water going into your gray and black tanks, and you got to do something with it, right?
Yeah.
So tell them what we did.
So we had, first let me just see that there's a question from Kenny and Sabrina. We were there from May 7th until May 27th or 28th.
20 something like that.
Yeah,
just a couple days ago.
27th. Well, Julie was there all that time.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, he left me.
I was actually gone for 2 weeks for work, but believe me, I heard about it through the phone. So,
because he was in air conditioning, in a hotel in air conditioning with unlimited water that was going down a drain and not having to conserve. So yeah, I kind of whined to him every time he called.
And Trey, we're going to be out west next year, so we're looking forward to that cooler weather. So we were talking about dumping the water. So they actually did, the same guy, John Najedlo, he had made this 300-gallon honey wagon, but it wasn't working when we first got there. So we had to use our Blue Boy.
Yeah, we actually bought a Thetford portable waste tank that people call them a Blue Boy because I think another brand makes them blue. Other people call it a honey wagon. That's what they called it in the Air Force. But basically it's a way to get the black and gray water from your RV into this, and then from here to a dump station. And that works really well if you're in a campground that has a dump station, and you can hook it up to your little ball hitch and drive it to the dump station. But how far was the dump station?
It was 6 miles away. So I had we filled it up without too much problem. And then I had Dan from Always on Liberty help me lift it into the back of the truck. And he told me, you can just run an extension hose down to the dump station. You don't even have to take it out of your truck. But he forgot to tell me that there's a little piece you need to buy to hook the extensions together.
Yeah, because our sewer hose wouldn't just like connect to that.
So we had to, so we got down to the dump station, and I had to get the Blue Boy out of the truck.
I was afraid it was going to just smash because it was so heavy, and I'm a wimp.
We got it down and we got it emptied, and then there was no hose to rinse out the Blue Boy at the dump station. Somebody had taken the hose that was there. So then we had to pull it over to the faucet, fill it up with water, take it back, rinse it out. It probably took a good 3 or 4 times to get that rinsed out. So then that was the only time we really had to dump.
Well, because that was the first week. That was the first week. And so after that, we said, boy, this is rough. We're going to have to employ some of these water conservation methods that our friends have told us about.
And then the second time we had to dump, they were actually filming us, and they wanted to get somebody dumping their tanks. So they actually
we're filming it. The whole camera crew. It was kind of embarrassing. I was like, only
and we have
Sean
a clear
poops
elbow,
in our
so
RV.
everybody could see it. And they even had the little sound boom mic right up against the pipe, so you could hear the stuff flow into the thing. So it was pretty cool. So that was the second time we dumped, and then we didn't have to dump again until we left.
Right, because he left. So I was by myself, and then I started employing some of these water saving strategies that my friends told me about, because I did not want to have to do that whole process by myself. So, like my friend Lisa told me, okay, so what you got to do is get in the shower. Well, first off, people told me you don't have to shower every day. Wrong. It was like in Texas over 100 degrees, and I get up every day and go like for a long walk. So I'm sweating. It's not like you're somewhere where, you know, it's like real mild weather. I had to shower every day. So then they said, okay, so what you got to do is turn on the shower, get wet, turn it off, lather up, and then turn it back on to rinse, and just kind of make it as brief as possible. So that's what I did. And then I also tried this strategy I heard about when I used to live in California, and they had droughts a lot. And so they would put it down. But Sean doesn't like that. He doesn't like that. So when he got back, he gave me grief about it. He was like, you got to flush every time. So I said, okay, all right. Peppered Man said it's called a Navy shower. Yeah. And Kenny and Sabrina said the same thing. Yeah, people say, that you can not everyone showers every day. I mean, you know, it's a preference, but my preference is that I shower every day. My preference is actually that I take a long shower every day, but you know, at least I made it work, I guess. It was still pretty full, the tank.
They were full.
When he got back, it was full, and it had only been me for the whole week. So I guess I'm not still really great at the water conservation.
Yeah. And so that was pretty much our experience. At nighttime, we basically just opened the windows. It would get down to 70 to 80, and we were able to sleep.
Yeah, and we were
there was a nice
lucky.
breeze.
Yeah, because the way our bedroom slide goes, our bed, you have like a window on each side of the bed, so you get a little cross breeze going on. So that definitely made it bearable at night.
And I think the main thing was we were just concerned about our refrigerator, keeping the food in there good, because there was one grocery store nearby, but it didn't have all the stuff that we prefer to eat. I guess we're kind of like too bougie for this whole boondocking thing.
Yeah.
But we, before we do it again, we're definitely going to upgrade our batteries to the lithium ion batteries, so we get a little more length to run our refrigerator. And then we'll definitely, one thing we didn't think of was we have two gas tanks on our RV.
We blew it on
one
this one.
One is a generator tank and one is a toy tank. And the generator tank only holds like 10 gallons or so. And then the tank for the toys, it has a fuel pump just like at a gas station. It holds 30 gallons, and we didn't think about filling that up, or we could have gotten a few days, probably three and a half days out of our generator before we would have to go get gas, and that would have been a lot more convenient.
Yeah, we thought of it on the last day because the film crew said, hey, we want to film you guys with your fuel station for your toy hauler, and we went, fuel station for the toy. Oh my gosh, we could have used this. So yeah, that was a lesson learned that we really should have thought of. But the thing is, we haven't had a toy in our toy hauler for 2 years now. So we totally just lost it on that one.
And luckily we were with some people who are very regular boondockers. I mean, most of the people there have boondocked a lot. I think one couple had only paid $38 in campground so far this year, so they boondock a lot. So we got a lot of good tips and tricks for
just
what
help.
We need to do,
and just help. Like when he left me there, I had to go get, and then I had to go get gas every day. But luckily, Dan Brown from Always on Liberty, he actually went and got gas for me and actually even put it in the generator for me. So yeah, I had people there who were helping me out and that were super nice. So that made it a little bit easier.
Yeah. Do you want to talk at all about the filming?
Yeah. Oh, someone said, "Oh yeah, Kenny and Sabrina sounds more like you guys laughed more than you cried while boondocking." So that's a win. It's true. Yeah, we did try to have a good attitude, or maybe we're laughing now
Yeah.
because it's in the past.
The worst
I
part
think
about
I did cry on the phone a few times.
it wasn't the boondocking, it was the lack of connectivity. As far as Wi-Fi and stuff, we were in this small town and they had no connectivity
Like
at
my
all.
cell phone, it didn't just have like a little part of a bar. It actually had the words "no service." So we do have a Wii Boost, and when the Wii Boost was on and I was inside the RV, I did have a few bars on my cell phone, and then also on our Verizon hotspots. But the second I stepped out of the RV, my cell phone instantly went to no service. So connectivity was also a concern. As a matter of fact, there was a campground about 6 miles away that had partial hookups. It had electric and it had water.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about staying there when he left, but the problem was even with the Wii Boost, you could get no signal, and I knew that Sean wouldn't feel very comfortable being gone for a week without, making sure that I was okay, because he worries about me. So, yeah.
So the movie.
Oh, the movie. Okay.
The filming. It was really interesting.
Impressive, actually.
Impressive, yeah.
I mean, I thought it was, it's this documentary called RV Nomads. It's going to premiere in October. And I thought it was just some kind of like little thing, I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe somebody with a just one little small camera, but they actually had Tom Morton from Morton's on the Move is the director, and Jesse from Outside Is Calling is the director of photography or cinematography. And they had several cameras out there. They have a big, like, what do they call that? Like a boom thing that makes it go like up and down. I mean, it was very impressive, I thought. Very elaborate.
And Audrey and Shane.
Audrey Callahan and Shane Snyder is they're doing the audio. They're the audio engineers, and Audrey is also doing the voiceover. So it was a very impressive film crew, I thought. Yeah, more than I was expecting.
Yeah, and we were pleasantly surprised at how professional the production seemed to be, and thankfully they were able to work with us since my travel schedule was kind of crazy during those weeks that we were there. And I thought everybody was great. I mean, I think it's going to be a good product, and they built even a studio with a collaboration space.
Yeah, they call it the CoLab. Yeah, and on one side is a studio, and on the other side is like a networking spot. They even built a bar there, and I could go over there some days and get some work done. So definitely the community made it easier for our first boondocking. But talking about the future, because the movie premieres in the same place in Texas in October
at Nomad Fest.
And right now we're at Fort Belvoir in Virginia, which is right outside of Washington, D.C. And we're going to be here till July. And then we are going to start making our way back towards Texas. And we actually are thinking about not necessarily full on boondocking, but doing some partial hookups to kind of get a little more used to the water conserving and using that Thetford portable tank system. So maybe we're a little more comfortable when we do get to a true boondocking experience. And you're going to work on the batteries and stuff.
Yeah. So I think for our first experience, it wasn't terrible. It was probably a bit too long. I think a few days we would have been fine. Kevin's on the east side of South Dakota.
Oh, nice.
So we survived.
We survived, and now we can laugh at it. And we're not giving up. We're going to make some adjustments and try it again, particularly like someone said earlier, out west. We're going to go out west next year after the holidays. And, we hear there's lots of great boondocking opportunities out there. So maybe we'll kind of ease our way into it between now and the Nomad Fest in Wellington. And then when we get out west next, it'll actually be like around January next year. We'll feel a little better about it.
Yeah. And hopefully by then we'll have a little better setup. on our RV to be able to handle more than 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah. And so if you guys have any tips or tricks for us, please let us know. We're always looking to learn from other people.
Yeah. And Kenny, we didn't steal your slot. We made sure that you guys were not doing your live stream tonight before we did ours. But
Yep.
this was the first chance we've had to do it. So,
because we just drove from Texas. So
we drove 1,500 miles in 3 days to get here. So, and we're here because our oldest son's getting married. So Julie was in a rush to get here. So we drove a lot.
Yeah, we wouldn't normally drive that fast, but had to get here.
So thanks for
joining us. This was awesome, guys. Our very first live. Yeah. And we hope to do it weekly.
Yep, but we'll pick a different day.
Yeah, we won't pick because usually Kenny and Sabrina are on. Were they on? You were watching them?
I was just watching their last one.
Oh, okay. So I'm not sure if they were on tonight, but they usually
Belle
do.
Eating corn on the cob.
Oh, that was a good one. Go to their channel. It's called Moving Forward Adventures. We met them in February. They are awesome people. They do a weekly live, which kind of gave us the courage to do a weekly live. It's just taken us a few months to finally get there. So we plan to do this weekly.
So thanks for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yep, and let us know if our paths may cross.
Safe travels.
Hey, we even have